Okay. Okay.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Fico here, and do another YouTube video. Been a while. Been a while. I was away. For those of you who followed streaming, I was away for a few days, but missed you, light. I missed being. I'm gonna admit, I'm a little sentimental. I was spending a lot of time with my little nephew, and it was super fun. My mom was there, brother was there. Clearly, this is super duper fun. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are not here to talk about family. It is April 1st, and it is not an April Fool's joke. This is actually an article that went out through Forbes. Now, I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to read this article verbatim because I want to leave the verbatim part for when I read the rebuttal from his own coworker, David Thayer, who he says he writes about video games and technology. I wrote a couple of notes here using my nice fancy notebook because I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this with a fancy notebook. So, ladies and gentlemen, the article is called Sekiro Shadows Die Twice Needs to Respect Its Players and Add an Easy Mode. Now, before I begin, I'm going to just spend a few minutes by saying that I was just kind of contemplating this a little bit more on the drive back. It's a 4-hour drive back to from my brother's house, so clearly it's a lot of contemplation that I do. So I was thinking about how some people in games, journalism, media are trying to make games cater to everybody. Now, you can't do that with books. You can't do that with movies. You can't do that with music. That's why there's so many different genres of music, different kinds of movies that you could watch, different kinds of music you could listen to, different kind of books that you could read. And there is most definitely a different, complete diverse catalog of video games that you can play. So anyone who's anyone can play just about whatever game they want to play. And there's a video game out there for you. If you want super easy, there's a game out there for you. If you want really hardcore storytelling, there's a game out there for you. If you want a game with a challenge, there's a game out there for you. And From Software, the guys responsible for doing Demon Souls, the Dark Souls trilogy, Bloodborne, and now Sekiro, they know that their gamers want a challenge. They want to focus on minimalist storytelling that lets you, the player, figure things out. And it does come with a pretty tough difficulty. Not impossible. I've played a few of the Dark Souls games, not beaten one single one of them, but not because I can't. Because I have not spent enough time to play them. I will stream them eventually. And many clips will be created. Because I feel that that's a game that's going to make me lose my voice. But I embrace the game for a lot of things. Probably the best creature design ever. In my opinion. Some of the best world building. And David Thayer agrees. It's just that I think what he and some people are kind of misunderstanding is that it is not a game developer's responsibility to cater to everyone. They can't. Because if they try to cater to everyone, you get Resident Evil 6. A game that meant to give everybody what they wanted, and in the end, it just had an incomprehensible story, delivered poorly, and it had just about everything wrong in there. It was kind of unenjoyable. It's a fun action game, but is it a good game? No. No, it is. No, it is not. No, it is not. You cannot give everybody everything they want. And I feel that the media sometimes they ask for stuff like oh, why can't you just give Dark Souls an easy mode? Which I don't think it's entirely all that bad, except that that's not the kind of game that From Software's making. I just think that this game is supposed to be like this to give you a sense of accomplishment. I think even the creators have come out to say that. It is not an impossible game. You can beat this. So I've summarized. It's like a ton of writing I've got down here. So yeah, he starts up by talking about From Software games. He starts complaining about an old saw. He calls it an old saw. So this is an issue that Dave has had with every From Software game. And he talks about Sekiro, which he says is punishingly difficult, and it adds a new standard for gamer abuse. Which he then says that this game kind of has like a cult status. I think he said that it was like a litmus test for real gamers. Like for instance, if you cannot beat this game, then you're not a real gamer. Obviously, that's joking around on the internet. If you can't beat Dark Souls, that doesn't mean that you're not a gamer. It just means that you are having problems beating Dark Souls, Sekiro, or any of these games. It doesn't say anything about you. The developers aren't trying to say anything about you. It's just a video game. That's just the kind of video games they like to make. Now, they say that the lack of difficulty settings is a problem, and you'll never see the end. You'll never see the end if you're not good in that game. Lack of difficulty settings is not a problem, I think. I don't think it's a problem. It's only a problem for those who do not play video games that often, or they just jumping into this game for the first time, never having played a video game, or they are going into this and they're struggling, but they haven't played the game long enough. But a problem, I don't see it. Now, he said that he wouldn't write these articles if it wasn't so difficult, which he's basically admitting that he's bitching that these games are too hard, hence why I'm here complaining on the internet. He admits he doesn't play other difficult games. He does say that he has the best world building and character design, and he describes how he sees and needs to see more. And he says he can't because the game is too difficult. The mean old monsters will not let him go through. Which, in that case, Dave, all you just need to do is just keep playing, man. I'm gonna give you Rikugan's advice. Just keep playing, man. You'll get it. Now, he says that From Software games adds a wall, like a wall of difficulty, and that this game needs to have an easy mode. Needs an easy mode. Even though we've already had Dark Souls. Like a handful of these games already without an easy mode. Or without a way to adjust the difficulty. And had one of those yet. I'm scared they're going to cater to them, but I also, at the same time, they made Sekiro, which is in a lot of ways much harder than the Dark Souls games. So I don't think they're ever going to. That apparently the other From Software games do give you the option to skip battles, and that in Sekiro you can't. I'm not sure because I've never played them. And he equates it to running into a brick wall and then being that's it. Well, it's it until you beat the boss. In that case, that would not be it. That would be keep going. You keep going, then you good to go. Now comes the part that I absolutely disagree with the most. And that part, I am actually going to read out verbatim. He says, there's a lot of talk about respecting the player when it comes to not including an easy mode, an idea that all players can and should play this game in this particular punishing way. And yet, I think a lack of an easy mode showcased the exact opposite. It shows an almost stunning lack of respect for players with the idea that they cannot be trusted with their own gameplay experience, that even those who want a challenging game would somehow be lured by the siren song of lower difficulties and destroy their own experience because they're too impatient or immature to know what they actually want. Summoning system is a perfect example of this. I never used it once while playing Bloodborne because I knew what experience I wanted. I didn't get it in Dark Souls 3, and I also didn't get it liberally. Okay. So apparently, not giving people an easy mode is not respecting players, because the offering of an easy mode will be the equivalent of developers not trusting the gamers at all. I mean, okay, so first of all, you put in a easy mode, it's always going to be an option for you, which Celeste, which he does bring up, and I'm going to use my example because standard is the basic difficulty, and he says that Celeste offers an assist mode. The developers insist that you have this set to standard, beat the game in standard, and then go back in assist mode. They encourage you not to use it, and they offer it there. And this apparently is a sign that Dave thinks that this is where we should be going. Now, I'm glad that it has an option, but turning it on can literally mean you can never die. Can't die. You could choose to turn on what aspects of this mode you want on, but it still makes the game almost laughably easy. But I'm using it just to go back and get the B-sides and get the strawberries, and I don't care because I've already gotten the experience of playing this game full playthrough from beginning to end without using it. And seriously, I think that it always being there will always want to give the incentive of anyone going to it. You should have it afterwards, once you've beaten the game. And then you get assist mode. And then you can go back and set it up. But you know what? But that's the thing. The developers didn't have to put that game mode. They insisted in having it so that people can experience the game. They wanted to do that. They have no responsibility to do that. This is just a decision they wanted to make. Now, he then goes off to saying that that this is nothing but the fans hating it, that easy mode will compromise. They're saying that they will compromise it, and apparently that them not wanting that means that they don't respect themselves, and that theoretically there are some some easy modes there for normal players. And the suggestions he gives is that turn down the boss damage and turn up the hero damage, which essentially means you become them and they become you, which basically means you're making the game just absolutely easy for the people. I mean, it doesn't offer a challenge. You'll just breeze through everything. And but you know what? And then he says something like, "Oh, but you know what? The normal mode is always going to be there." Well, sorry to have to tell you this, but From Software did not develop these games for you. They developed these games because that is the kind of game that they like to make. They don't think it's that admirable. I think it's a little insulting for the players to be fed an easy mode that encourages the game to do the work for you. Now, I personally think if you find a game too difficult to play, you could play other games. The game developer does not have to cater everyone. This is what a person like Dave wants. They want every game out there to cater to everybody. Every sex, every gender, every race, every person, every physical ailment or not. That is not how anything works, okay? You put out a product, it's because you want people to go for that product. Is it better to have it more inclusive experience for the more people to play it? Yes. But From Software should not compromise their game design ideals just so that a few people can play this game easier. They're not unbeatable. The adjustments could go against anything that the devs make, and they don't want to pigeonhole you. They don't want the game to take over and go, look, you're too bad. We're not going to let you do this. Let the game take over. Let the game do this for you because you're not good enough to do this. That's essentially what they don't want you to do. They don't want you to feel that you can't do this. They have great communities out there. They're not like, there's some elitist people, yeah, but not every person in the Dark Souls From Software community, I feel, is out to swallow people that are not part of their clique. They're out to help you. And these games are tough, but they're not impossible. You could discover the stories, the characters, the lore with the minimalist delivery. They trust that you will discover what is going on in these games for yourself. And you don't learn anything if you pigeonhole somebody. An easy mode is sometimes to the point where all you want is the story, but you feel as though you're not even playing a game. At this point, it's so easy that your game is just playing itself at that point. Now, not being able to beat the game doesn't say anything at all about you as a gamer. And they established this early. Demon's Souls was like that as well too. And sorry, they're not going to compromise who they are just because you want an easy mode. And your boy Eric Kane completely agrees. No, Sekiro twice absolutely does not need an easy mode. And I'm almost, and it's so happy that he responded to this. And I'm going to actually have to read this verbatim because I didn't read it. But he actually addresses you, Dave, directly, which I find it incredible. My colleague David Thayer is at it again, calling From Software to add an easy mode to the studio's latest game, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. The irony, of course, is that the game is by default set to easy mode. You can activate hard mode partway into the game. For the truly masochistic, there is an option that is a choice. Choice lies in the crux of Thayer's argument. He argues that an easy mode would not change the experience for many players who wish to play it in its pure form. The challenge would remain intact. Giving players a choice would be a sign of respect. I fundamentally disagree. For one thing, the option to turn down difficulty when stuck at a particular hard boss or mini boss would always be a temptation. It would be so simple to take the easy route, and then we would never learn from From Software and director Hidetaka Miyazaki hope we will learn how to overcome the odds, and in so doing gives ourselves with a sense of pride and achievement. That is what the developers have always wanted, for you to feel a sense of overcoming something that is harder than it's hard. Life isn't easy. You have a challenge in the gaming world. When you play a Dark Souls game, it's kind of like that. A little over dramatic, yes, but imagine if life was like that. That you could just have people do things for you. Would you move forward? Of course you would. But you've never advanced the way you would. You wouldn't feel proud. I wouldn't feel proud someone doing my job and then I'm getting all the credit. That is not who I am, and I would totally hate that. I wouldn't want the game to get the credit for something that I did. I want to do something in the game. I say, I did it. I am the person that did it. And I think that the developers definitely understand that. The beauty of a Souls game and of Sekiro is in the mastery of the game's systems. I felt like a virgin again when playing it when I first began playing Sekiro. It was like I was a novice Souls player killed for the very first time. But as the days have gone by and kept up my plodding pace through the game, I found myself learning its deadly ballet. Now I can dance. Oh no, oh what a feeling. I kept beating those foes that at first seemed insurmountable, not because I could change the difficulty setting or grind my way to a higher level or summon help online, but because I was persistent. I learned inch by inch from my mistakes. I found new skills and helped me in these tricky situations. Watch me, Nightjar slash Lady Butterfly, new prosthetics that expose an enemy's weakness, and better timing to effectively hew my way through the mobs. Sekiro, like from Software, other titles, was teaching me through failure. Get good is a meme now, but it should never be used as an insult. Sekiro patiently teaches us how to improve, chiseling away our shortcomings and aiming us with the tools we need to succeed. Like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, easy mode isn't a setting, it's something you become. Easy mode is that moment when you realize that you've improved as a player. The game keeps getting harder, but you keep getting better alongside it. It is a vicious tango, player versus environment. He gives an example, and he's absolutely right. Implementing an easy mode would not make you a better player. It would just make you go through the obstacles easier. And you don't learn anything. You don't learn what you could have done. And yes, it can lead to you getting stuck. It can lead to you getting completely frustrated. But that is the beauty of a Souls game. I feel that that's the beauty of any game that has a difficulty that is a legendary difficulty. I feel that a game with that massive difficulty, or at least a difficulty like this, is there for you to be better. Because there have been games before From Software games that have been just as difficult and people have been able to beat them. Trust me. Trust me when I tell you, games like these do not need to cater to someone that can't beat them. You just need to have a little patience. Forget about what people are saying. Get good. That's essentially what you got to do. That is not us, the gaming community, telling you that you're a scrub lord and that you're never going to be good at this game. You just got to get good. Get good in this instance means you just got to have patience. You have to play the game little by little. And hey, there's a community out there to help you as well too. Just saying. There's been something of an online freakout over Dave's article with the old and tired games journalists can't play games trope dragged out. That's silly and unbecoming. Anyone who calls themselves a Souls fans engaging in this should be ashamed. From Software doesn't want you to act this way. Remember, Sekiro is a teacher. It is teaching us how to master its systems through failure and persistence, and it is doing so for our own benefit. One particularly thorny boss I finally took down left me literally whooping for joy and pumping my fists in the air. What a feeling. Miyazaki has said this in the past, that he wants to let players experience a sense of accomplishment through overcoming difficulties. The mountain is steep, but when you reach the top, the view is breathtaking and all the more so for the climb. I'm so glad that indirectly he's referencing Celeste. I think he means to talk about Celeste, but he's talking about this. And I could read the rest here if you guys like, but let me just put says here. It's worth saving time and time again, Thier argues. An easy mode does not have to change the core experience in any way at all, period. Playing a version of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice that has an easy mode would theoretically be completely identical to playing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Now, the continued insistence that an easy mode would somehow affect the normal game mode seems to represent the player's lack of respect for themselves, an idea that they would not be able to play the game that they want without ruining it for themselves. But this isn't just for those of us in the From fanboy camp. This is for about every player. It isn't about taking away my experience in normal mode. It's about taking away Dave's experience in normal mode. Anyone can learn to play this game. You can learn when to parry and when to jump and when to dodge out of the way. You can learn how to strike to wear down your enemy's posture, and you can figure out ways to cheese the bosses through stealth attacks, special skills, and so forth. More to the point, the game will teach you and guide you along the way in a way that no other games really do. There is even decent tutorials this time around, and a guy who wants to who you can train with to your heart's content, improving your skills, no risk whatsoever. Not every game is going to appeal to everybody, nor should they. Not everyone is going to love Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Many will be intimidated by its daunting challenge and steep learning curve. That's fine. If misguided, I would hope players would come to this game because they want a new challenge, not because they've lured here with the purpose of an easier setting. And then he says, I'd say from fans, believe in yourself, know that you can play this game the way you want to play, even if those are playing the game they want to play it. And he simply says, believe in yourself. Know that you can play the game you think it's too daunting to play, because we're all in this together, because you will learn to overcome and triumph. Do not be afraid, young Padawans. You can learn to play this game's rhythms too. You would be surprised by what you can achieve. I love you, Eric Kane. Translation: don't let the failures of the game dictate what kind of a gamer you are. No, you do not need an easy mode. No, you do not need to be catered to a person who wants an easier game. Just play an easier game. If you don't like Dark Souls or any of the From Software games, that's fine. Not every game is going to be liked by everybody. Some people say those games suck. And that's okay. I mean, you don't have to like every game that comes out. And what Eric Kane is trying to tell you, Dave, is that no, a hard game like this does not need a easy mode. What it needs is for it to be left alone and for you to get better at it, because the developers believe you can achieve this. And if you can't do this, that doesn't say anything about you, Dave. It just means that you either have to get better or you just have to find something else to play. The game does not have to change because you're having problems with it. It just needs you to do it the way the developers want you to do it. That is from failing, learning, and experiencing the game as intended. I learned this with Cuphead. When I finally beat the final boss, I had no help. I didn't set it to an easy mode. Played it in normal. And when I beat that boss, that was one of the most rewarding experiences ever. And I'm going to leave that clip for all of you to see at the end of this video, so you guys can understand that the developers do not have to pigeonhole you and get you all the way to the end if you want them to. You just have to learn how to get better at the game, because these games, in my opinion, are not built as a litmus test. They're made to be built as a challenge. I feel that they have, they can definitely, I think that they have achieved it. So that's just my opinion. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys watching here. Let me know what you guys think at the bottom below here. If you guys want me to talk about a little bit more about game difficulties, or make another video separate just talking about this and other games like that, please recommend games, put them down below, and we'll go ahead and we'll look into this a little more deeper. Have a meaningful conversation, guys. And I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the clip of me beating the last boss on Cuphead. And if you guys agree with Eric, this will be your similar experience too. So Take care, everybody. See you. And thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great, beautiful April. It's April the 1st. Going through this year fast, guys. Stay tuned. Things are great. Thank you so much. My name is Fico, and that's been my gaming mind. Share, like, subscribe, click the bell, ding. That is easy mode. Bye, guys.
Okay. Okay. Ah! 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 Yes! 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 Woo! Spawner, you are magnificent! Oh! Woo! Yeah! Oh my god! Oh, the